Many pilots say that the most dangerous part of the flight is taking off and landing, but even if an experienced pilot is at the helm, and the weather conditions are close to ideal, then the airport itself may be a threat. Welcome to Top 5 video, and today we will tell you about the 10 most dangerous airports in the world. Princess Juliana Airport, on Saint Martin Island in the Netherlands. One of the scariest airports in the world. The airport is located on a small island, so small that the airport is only a few meters away from the sea. The only lane is not equipped with special beacons for automatic landing. That is why the pilots have problems and they have to land the plane manually. It is located close to one of the most popular beaches among tourists, Maho. The pilot must make a sharp turn to avoid colliding with a nearby rock. The shockwave of the engines is so powerful that it knocks down tourists who are near the airport. Airport on the island of Madeira in Portugal. It attracts with its architecture. In 2000 year, a structure of 180 reinforced concrete pillars was completed, each 5 meters in diameter. The hallmark of the airport is the tower pillars, which are illuminated from the inside in the evenings. The main terminal building is a glass dome. The airport became famous for its runway. The passengers close their eyes in horror when their liner flies straight into the mountains and only at the last moment turns to the side. Thanks to the efforts of engineers, it was possible to secure the landing of aircraft, but this airport still remains one of the most extreme. Gibraltar Airport, which is owned by the UK Department of Defense. Here is the famous Rock of Gibraltar and the airport, which is located at its foot. The airport is included in the list of the most dangerous airports in the world. It is used not only for military purposes, but also for civilian purposes. The strip is 1829 meters long. The airport is just 500 meters from the city center and crosses the highway. To allow the plane to take off or land, a whole stream of cars is blocked. Special barriers are specially installed for this. Motorists wait patiently for the gates to open, but unfortunately, such daily stops lead to congestion and traffic jams on the road. About 6 planes take off and land here every day. This is the only airport in the world whose lane crosses the highway. Juancho Irauskin Airport is located on the island of Sucre, which is part of the Lesser Antilles archipelago. The airport's runway is rather narrow, built on a small, gently sloping stretch just off the coast. It is also difficult to plant the mountains on one side and the sea on the other. The length of the strip does not exceed 300 meters. That is why this airport is very dangerous. Any mistake and miscalculation of the pilot can lead to death. The plane will fall off the cliff and fall into the sea. Large planes tend to avoid the airport, but smaller planes also have a hard time landing. Especially when the weather is unfavorable with splashing water and crosswinds. Mariscal Sucre Airport in the city of Quito. The small area set aside for the airport is surrounded by dense buildings. In addition, there are several volcanoes near the airport. Only qualified pilots are allowed to land at this airport. In addition to heavy rains, volcanoes are also a threat, emitting ash and impairing visibility to a minimum. The length of the runway is 4,100 meters, which allows the airport to receive large flights. Kansai Airport, built in Sucre Bay, became the first airport in the world located not on land, but on an artificial island. The airport is 1.7 kilometers long and 1 kilometer wide. Its central part is a 4-story building made in the form of an airplane wing. A single 3 km long bridge is connected to the land of the island. Irauskin Bay is one of the most seismically active points in the world. In 1996, many parts of Japan were struck by a 7 Richter earthquake. And in 1998, a powerful typhoon swept right over the airport, the wind speed in which reached 200 km per hour. The airport survived these natural disasters and continued to operate. The giant airport receives about 150 planes a day. So that people do not get lost in such a huge building at the airport, there are robots that can tell where to go, help with suitcases and check in for the flight. Ice Runway Airport, which belongs to the United States and serves as a runway during the winter. This airport is adapted to receive both cargo planes and passenger planes. At first glance, we can say that the strip is perfectly flat and safe, but only it is located in Antarctica, so the planes have to land directly on the ice. In order for the pilots to land the liner, the staff clears the snow to prevent accidents. Landing is difficult not only because of the ice, but also the weather. In such conditions, the aircraft can easily get bogged down in the snow or break through the ice. That is why the weight of the aircraft is strictly controlled in order not to damage the ice. When the air temperature rises, the ice melts and landing on the runway becomes impossible. Therefore, this runway is included in the list of the most dangerous airports. Courchevel Airport in France. Located among the mountains at an altitude of 2,000 meters above sea level. This airport is the shortest airstrip of all in the world, only 525 meters. The runway is right in the Alps, where pilots have to fly through a narrow valley. If the plane does not pick up sufficient speed during takeoff, then it will simply fly off the runway. When landing an aircraft, the pilots have to perform the most difficult work, namely, approach the landing when there is no visibility of the end of the runway. The functionality of the airport is also limited by the size of the aircraft and technical conditions due to the lack of an approach scheme. Tenzing and Hillary Airport is located at an altitude of about 3,000 meters above sea level on a steep cliff. He was squeezed into a rocky gorge, which allows landing only on the first attempt. Moreover, the runway is not flat, but with a hill, for which the pilots called it humpback. The length of the runway is only 527 meters, it is located on a slope. It has earned the title of the most extreme airport in the world for one more reason: takeoffs and landings are carried out only by VBR, since of all navigation systems, only a radio station is used here. An additional danger here is created by thick clouds and strong winds. Landing and takeoff are only possible during the daytime. Bangda Airport. It is the highest airport in the world. It is located among the mountains of Tibet at an altitude of 4,334 meters above sea level. No less astonishing than the height is the length of the runway. It reaches 5,500 meters. This length is not accidental. Due to the increased rarefaction of the air, which is observed high in the mountains, the operation of the engines becomes significantly more complicated and the thrust force decreases. This prevents the aircraft from taking off quickly. When landing at high-altitude airports, the weakening of the reverse thrust of the reverse engine leads to a significant increase in the safe landing distance. It is for this reason that Tibetan Bangda Airport has the longest runway of any civilian airport in the world.